I mean, why do we even call it roommate phase, first of all?
Okay, yeah, let's clarify what I mean by that.
Mm-hmm.
Good thoughts. Okay, so basically, when you bring your baby home, you kind of feel eventually like you're strangers passing by. You know, like that roommate phase where, your roommate comes up and makes a meal and then they peace out and then they go to their room. It's kind of like that.
Perfect description.
Right? And then you're just like, oh, hey, bye. Okay, bye. Yeah, I'm going to go to bed now. All right, okay, see you later.
What's your plan for the day? Oh, okay, cool.
How was your day today? Good?
Yeah.
All right,
nice.
Casey,
Okay,
see you
I'll
tomorrow or next week,
Make
whatever.
sure you pay rent in time.
That's basically what this whole thing is like.
Yeah, it really
when you bring
is.
your baby home.
It's so true. Yeah, let's go into it. Like,
Okay.
the first feelings of it, right? It's the emotional things. Just got your
Emotions
baby
are
home.
high.
Emotions are high. I mean, there's so much joy in there, excitement as well.
But your whole life changed.
It
Just changed.
It's crazy. It's like the snap of a moment, your whole life just changes. You're joyous, you're stressed, you're high on anxiety, and above all else, you got this thing called tiredness kicking in. You haven't slept for what, 2, 3, 4 days? You probably got a few hours, if that, in.
Yeah.
And now you got this baby in your hands that you got to take care of for the
Yeah.
rest of your life.
Yeah. Like, there's no returning this pet to the pet store, you know what I'm
There's
saying?
no pets. There's no manuals,
Oh, that would be nice, a manual.
right? There's no manuals because every kid is so different.
Yeah.
So you got this baby in your hand. You're trying to learn everything.
It's like a whole new learning curve.
That's a brand new learning curve that you've never experienced in your life.
Yeah.
For someone especially like me who don't have siblings, who's not around like kids that often. It was so very new and stressful.
Yeah, so true.
So you're trying to navigate all that into a relationship. And plus you got a marriage you got to keep up. You got a lovely partner that you got to see how she's doing.
Yeah.
So it's quite a bit. So for those new parents out there, it's a lot. We get it.
Yeah. So basically what would happen, like, you bring your baby home. If you end up having like a vaginal birth, there is a waiting period of healing time. So they typically recommend it's about 6 weeks for healing. And well, that means no intercourse for that male, you know?
Jeez. I mean, we'll get to that too.
Shame. Poor boy.
Oh, it's devastating. Please don't.
Don't make a joke out of it because it's a real thing.
I don't want to go back.
So anyways, obviously if you have a C-section and things like that, you still have healing time. Don't get me wrong, for sure. There's definitely a lot of healing. So that is one thing that happens. And then also if you're breastfeeding your baby, that's taking a lot of time away as well. So you get to bond with your new baby.
Yes.
Which is beautiful.
Yes.
But again, you kind of forget about this.
Yeah. Okay.
Not forget, but it's on the back burner.
It's so on the back burner because you're really just on survival mode. This is the best way to put it, right? You're just trying to learn all these things. You're trying to learn how to soothe the baby. You're trying to learn how to breastfeed the baby. You're trying to how to like change a diaper.
Yeah.
Because trust me, you don't get practice before all
you
that.
can. I mean, Jim Halper from The Office. Remember him?
Oh, right. Yeah. Jeez.
Diapering those watermelons, man. I mean.
Yeah. They make it look so easy.
Ooh, fun fact for those of you. We'll just step aside for a minute here. Tom and I actually got the privilege of meeting Leslie Baker, who is Stanley Hudson from The Office. So I wish we could share a picture, but we actually have our kids in there. Maybe we can blur it out. We'll see.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, it was so cool. So,
Yeah.
Just a fun fact.
Fun fact, Stanley thinks pretzels are actually just okay.
Yeah.
He's not in love with pretzels like we all thought.
Yeah.
So that I learned something new that day.
Yeah.
But
anyway, sorry. Back to it. Yeah, you don't get to practice diapers, but
No.
you can if you want to, I suppose.
yeah, which goes on to the next little phase here, right? Roles and responsibilities.
Right.
The female role, her main job is to keep the baby alive, okay? For those first few weeks, that is to keep the baby alive.
I guess we should clarify that this is specifically more so relating to breastfed babies.
Yes, that is also true.
Because formula babies, the dad actually has more of an opportunity to help out.
Yeah, that is so true. When it comes to everything else, that is the dude's responsibility. And the main reason for that is because when you're female, you just have birth, you're going to recover for a few weeks and you're going to learn how to do all that breastfeeding, and that's not easy. And so for a dude's role, you got to learn how to just take care of everything around the household. If you haven't done laundry in years, well, it's time to do laundry. It's time to do everything else, like the dishes and whatever else. So the males take on a lot of that other responsibilities.
Right. Yeah. If you can do anything, just, help out around the house, man.
But also, if chores are left undone, some of it, then it's totally fine.
Yeah. Let go of that perfection because just give yourself some grace when it
Yeah.
comes to the cleanliness of your home. Seriously.
Yeah, and I think we dealt with that I think we did okay.
Yeah, I think like let's do just a quick recap of our child at the beginning. We have mentioned a little bit about Peanut's digestion issues. She had a lot of spit up. She had a lot of that reflux. And so she had a lot of tummy issues that resulted in like not being able to burp easy, pass gas easy, and like sleeping and stuff. It was very difficult to get all of those things to run smoothly on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So we did deal with those troubles as well. So after she would be finished feeding, she would actually be crying a lot and she would be in pain and things like that. So we really struggled with those kind of things, which led for more of a difficult flow of how we were able to transition into like a proper routine and like figuring out the balance between you and I and what our roles were and responsibilities for those kind of things. So I think that really delayed our progress, I would say.
So true. Yeah, basically our learning curve was really high from the beginning, from the get-go.
For sure.
Right? With everything from breast, you had difficult breastfeeding, she had difficult burping,
Yeah.
she had difficult sleeping, just a lot of difficulties. So we had to learn a lot of things very quickly. And so our stress level was this high.
Yeah.
Everything else, we just kind of left it
For
as
sure.
is.
And I had really, really bad anxiety after my first child. So that really didn't help. And then the sleep deprivation. So, yeah, proceed with caution with your partner because if you're both lacking sleep, like, okay, adults need at least 7 hours of sleep to properly function normally. So when you are not getting 7 hours of sleep,
You're frustrated.
yeah, like things can go awry very easily.
Yeah, really take it easy on each other. Give a lot of grace
For sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
and communicate,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Even though it's going to be hard, but just talk about everything.
Yeah.
Talk it through. When you get that few hours in the day where the baby's sleeping, just talk it out.
Yeah, talk, or I mean, the female might need naps at that time too. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm talking like female, male as if we're like an animal species or something. Well, I mean, I guess.
Anyway.
Anyways, but yeah, that's another thing. Like sometimes the women are going to be napping when their baby naps because that's when you have that ability,
Yeah,
especially through the night. So
yeah, exactly.
I don't know. So
Okay.
yeah, I think some like really main takeaways from all of this would be like figure out your roles and responsibilities right away. Definitely talk about your emotional states and like where you guys are at level wise. Like, hey, I'm at a 20% today. Like, what are you at? Like, oh, I'm only at 18. Okay, well, we need to figure something out together that'll make us get through this day. Or like, if you have a higher percentage rate than me, like I need you to step up and just deal with it.
Right.
Because I don't have the capacity to do it. So communication is really big.
Okay, which kind of leads on to the next thing. Families.
Families.
Okay, so it's good to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help, of course, and your family will help out,
Hopefully.
hopefully, if they're decent. But sometimes there are those who are unhelpful. And so, how would one navigate those situations?
I feel like in a normal situation, you definitely want to set boundaries right away with your family and friends.
Right.
Especially if they will cause you stress. You definitely don't need that added on to your current state. So adding those boundaries right away can be very helpful and just set the mood going forward, because we did not necessarily do that with some people that we needed to after our first baby. And I think that caused a lot more issues for me personally that we really needed to fix and that we were set back on.
And then, of course, appreciate those ones that are very helpful to you. For those who are going to help out your baby when they're first born, kudos to you guys.
Yeah, when you get the help that you need, it's really great. And then also, if you have a really great idea is meal train.
Oh, yes.
Hey,
wow,
if
what a
you-
great idea.
Yeah, if you can set that up with some friends and family, like
And do that during your
baby shower.
baby shower.
Yeah, that's a good time to do it. Yeah.
Yep.
For someone who's planning your baby shower, maybe just suggest a meal plan or a meal train, sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, really good idea, because we had some friends who would bring us meals, which was really, really nice. But then also it's kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, a week has gone by, you're good now. And it's like, we're really not. We're not good. Like, can someone please help us still?
I mean, we're not sponsored by HelloFresh, but get HelloFresh.
Oh man, for our second baby, we got HelloFresh. It was
Like,
the greatest. We
yeah, for like
splurged.
a month or two straight. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was the greatest.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, I know that's also a really good idea if you have the ability to do that.
All right, let's get to the juicy meats.
Ooh.
Bonding and intimacy. All right. So, as a guy, as a typical saying, gotta needs. But I feel like
Insert eye roll.
exactly. But I feel like after a baby's born, I feel like most guys should realize that those needs are gonna be put back way, way, way back for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
And so, how would a guy sort of deal with these kind of situations where, like you got your needs, but also you got to understand that there's a new situation going on. And I feel like we can kind of use a personal example because for me, I felt, this was weeks after, maybe even months, I don't know. I just felt like, my form of the love language is physical is one of them and being very high top. And I just felt like that wasn't met. And for me, I was like, oh my goodness, does this woman even love me anymore? I just don't know anymore. And so it got to me, and it was kind of difficult situation because like at the same time, it's like in your mind, you're like, how can I be this ridiculous? Where it's like this lady literally just gave birth, and I'm over here wondering all these things, right? And so it got to a point where I think we both sat down and we just like really hashed it out. And
Yeah,
do you
because
remember some of those conversations?
yeah, I do remember some of the conversations. It's very easy to pick up when Tom is off for sure. But it was one of those things where it's like I don't have the mental capacity to deal with this right now. So I remember we kind of delayed it a little bit, and it was just like when you were feeling off, it's like I can't even ask you what's going on because I probably knew what was going on, right? But it's just like I just couldn't deal with it. But I do remember we finally, okay, like we need to address this now.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is wrong? And me, I remember getting a little frustrated because thinking, okay, like you realize what I've just went through, right? And I always have kind of struggled with the fact that my feelings are just below everybody else's, and I've always felt that way with a lot of things. And so that was really difficult because it's like this, I'm just not.
Yeah, this does not need to happen right now.
Yeah, we don't need this right now.
But also, it's one of those things that like when there's something wrong, then it like the whole dynamic of the family changes until that situation is solved.
It's so true.
Which is kind of nice, I guess, because it forces us to solve things without just like, oh yeah, we're good.
Yeah,
let's just worry about the future.
For sure. Yeah, we definitely know that something needs to be discussed, and then we just find an appropriate time to do it.
So
and if that's a few days later or whatnot, but
yeah. So that conversation that we had was really impactful. I would say really, really powerful.
Yeah, and you have changed ever since that conversation.
Seriously,
so
that was
I'm
almost
so
3 years
grateful.
ago. Yeah. So basically, a general conversation that we've had, which changed our lives, was that love comes from many, many different ways. It doesn't just have to be intercourse or physical, right?
Yeah.
It comes in many, many forms. And Mallory put it just the most beautiful way possible. She said, when we go on walks, when we hold hands, when we are sitting on a couch watching TV and I'm leaning my head against you, these are all forms of small love languages and like that can add up. And so it's really, really important to know that.
Mm-hmm. There are more forms of showing love than just sex, men. I am sorry to burst your bubble, but it's not all about sex every time.
Yeah. And I would say for, a while, that was in my head.
That was your mindset.
Yeah, that was my mindset.
Yeah, which is understandable, like how you grew up, right? Like love in the Chinese culture in general, isn't it? Like it's not really something that's necessarily shown all the time.
No, definitely not.
Right? So I mean, the fact that you
it's shown in many forms. In different ways.
In other forms, right? Yeah, like food was a huge one.
Yes, exactly.
But anyways, that aside, you didn't necessarily receive that when you were younger, which is why you put so much pressure on me to have that reciprocated to you.
Yes.
So that put a lot of strain on our relationship for a little bit, I would say, because we did battle with that for a bit until I put it in appropriate words that made sense to you. I think that really has changed everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And even things like doing the laundry for the whole family. You know what I mean? Like cooking a meal. Like there are so many different forms of love that you need to like notice and put together. So yeah, it was an eye-opening experience.
Yeah, and that has changed ever since. Like things have been so different since then, and it was the best thing that could have happened for a relationship because otherwise, I don't know what would have happened.
Yeah, that would have manifested into I don't know what.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So again, communication.
Yeah, and like a fun thing before, like when Tom and I were just dating, like we even had scoreboards basically for like dishes. Well, I cooked. I ain't cleaning.
It's so true.
And like, ooh, I did dishes yesterday.
Oh, we were tit for tatting so hard.
We really
before.
were, yeah. It's so funny thinking about that now because we are just the complete opposite and we just really do things to help out the other person. Like
so
it's
true.
all about like if I can make Tom's day easier, this is what I'm gonna do, and vice versa.
Yeah, I agree.
So
and this has changed
so cool.
the family so greatly.
Yeah, it really has.
Yeah.
So
get rid of the tit for tat. Get rid of that.
Yeah, and back to the whole idea of everything, the roommate phase. It will pass as long as you have those proper foundations set and you communicate. Like honestly, you hear it all the time. Communication is key, and it really is.
Yeah.
It really is, because if you don't have communication, you don't have much.
No, it's all about nipping in the butt early.
It's not nipping in the butt.
Oh, what is it? Nipping it?
Nipping in the bud.
Nipping in the bud?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What did I say?
You said butt.
Oh, really?
Anyways, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's all about just getting it.
Yeah. Squashing it right away before it turns into something that is unnecessary.
Yeah, think of it as a dandelion, eh? Just want to pluck it out when it's small before it turns into this.
Yeah, and spreads everywhere. Yeah, that's a good analogy. So yeah, I think that's okay. Would you change anything?
Would you say? Wow, that's yeah.
Going back, would we change how we acted?
I don't know. I mean, it's all part of the journey. No, I think it's just all part of the journey for me. I had to learn what I had to learn throughout the time, and here we are. We're still doing fine.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely things that I wish that we could have changed a little bit for Peanut, because she kind of suffered in an unnecessary way just from us not knowing a lot of things and trying to figure things out. But I mean, again, it's all part of the journey. But yeah, just for like our little baby, it would just be nice if she had a little easier time.
Yeah.
But aside from that, for our learning journey, you're right. It needed to be done for sure.
Yeah. At that time we learned fast, and we do research during that time as well. So yeah, we have to learn how to learn.
Yeah, and I mean it was really extra difficult for us because we did have our baby during COVID, so we were very isolated and very together all the time.
And it was,
and then you were working from home.
Yes.
And we were just always home on top of each other, living in a tiny townhouse that just like there's no escape.
No, so, just let you no escape.
Yeah, we have to deal with this head on. So.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, that is it for today's video. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe.
Yep. And we'll see you next Wednesday.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. Welcome to the extra segment of our podcast. This is a brand new segment, and it's going to call it the Raw Talk. So
Talk.
Oh yeah, Raw Talk. This is when we go over kind of what's happening the week, some of the battles that we've had to face, and some of the happiness that we can share. So
yeah, one of the fun things about like starting this podcast is it's been great, but at the same time we kind of have to start from the beginning, whereas we're a little bit ahead of the beginning. So we're in this kind of weird like motion of, well, we have all this important information to give you guys, but at the same time, like we're dealing with like things currently.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why I think it's a little fun to talk about it now.
Yeah. And some of the things that we dealt with my kind of first child is that we faced a lot of isolation and a lot of loneliness. And so the reason why we want to just talk about this stuff openly is that we want to express to other parents that, hey, like, listen to us, do not feel alone, and hopefully you can have a little fun hearing this. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully it gives some sort of inspiration or guidance for people that are looking for it.
So what's going on?
What's going on?
What's going on? Let me lean back just a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess like this week, I mean, I think I kind of touched base on our last Raw Talk about just like how stressed I've been dealing with the tude of Peanut, and it's just been mentally draining, and you really have to check yourself. Like I think I briefly mentioned that I didn't even know who I was anymore. Like I completely lost everything about any self-worth that I had. It was just all gone.
Yeah.
And it's just really hard. Thankfully, I think giving perspective on how she might be feeling has changed everything drastically, because it just put things in more perspective for me, and understanding that she's going through things just as much, and like she's been dealing with a lot of new changes. And like I said, like how are we expecting our child to change in a couple days when us dealing with things mentally takes months, years even sometimes? I mean, it's a little different on the circumstances, but you get what I'm saying, right?
And we could process things better. in a way.
Yeah, and she, like, her little brain doesn't know how to process
No.
a lot of these things. She's just feeling a lot of emotions.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, having that perspective really helped a lot, I would say. But that in turn gave me the ability to have a little bit more leniency and like understanding and more love towards her.
Yeah.
And I think that that has helped her as well, because since I've kind of acknowledged all of this stuff, she's been getting a lot better, I would say. And I'm yelling a lot less. Like I said, I didn't even know who I was. Like, I just turned into like this horrible monster. And then like later on, I'd be like, whoa, like this is scary almost, of this person that I've become
Yeah.
because of these situations.
Just frustrated, angry, and just like feel like punching a wall sometimes.
And I got very close many times.
Yeah.
Like I can't. Yeah, the only thing I can hit right now is a wall.
Yeah, just so angry.
Yeah, and like I don't swear often, and when I'm swearing, I mean it's bad.
Yeah,
So
it really is.
Yeah, so it got really, really bad for me, I would say. But like I said, as soon as I kind of switched that mindset, things have gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
But of course now we're dealing with the sleep issue, and I don't know what the right answer is.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's really tough. So just a quick recap for everybody. Our child switched to a big girl bed, and she was doing really great, but now she has been getting up very consistently and wanting to sleep in our bed. And yeah, it's a battle.
It's a battle.
It's a battle.
I feel like last night was fairly funny because she just woke up kicking and screaming and
just like the worst tantrum.
So upset.
For I don't know what reason.
But last night we were both just laughing about it.
So I was going to the bathroom and she's literally crying and screaming and kicking on the floor, and she literally like screamed like, "That's my toilet," to just like going, and I'm like so that was really funny. And then I would go and brush my teeth, because now we're at this point where it's like, okay, addressing this tantrum is not helping, so let's just ignore the tantrum. That's what we're trying now, because nothing else was working, so let's ignore it. So I'm just getting ready for bed, brushing my teeth, and then she'd crawl on the floor and like do her thing, crying, screaming, kicking, throwing her teddy bear at me. And she's literally like, I'm getting abused by a 2-year-old here, guys. Like, she is scratching me, she's kicking me, she's hitting me, she's throwing toys at me. Yeah, it's actually like, it's really sad. So I have to like keep moving. But anyways, I was brushing my teeth, and then she's like, "I want to brush my teeth too." Just like, oh my gosh,
we just couldn't help but laugh.
Yeah, it was just like getting so ridiculous that we're like, we're at that point, like, you know, when it's so bad you just laugh.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah,
which was great, because that could have been really stressful.
Yeah, for sure. But it does spike my stress in the sense that like, we have another child, and she's gonna wake up.
She was woken up.
Little lady. And yeah, she did wake up, and then she got upset. And like, that just to me triggers a whole nother sense of stress, because we don't need something else to deal with. And like, our rooms are all very close and you can hear everything. So yeah, that's just very, very stressful for me. And I don't like it. I don't like being put in situations like this. I don't like being unprepared for situations. And so all of that just spikes anxiety. So yeah, I ended up sleeping in her bed last night, because if we're going to transition from her being in our bed, I have to go to her bed now. And then hopefully I can slowly get out of the room. Yeah. I don't know. We're kind of at a loss of what to do at this point. No
idea what to do.
For these reasons. So yeah, so that's how I'm doing.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah. How are you?
Thanks for sharing. Yeah, I'm good. I think the biggest lesson I've learned in the past week or two is that your child is just as scared as you are. And she is just as stressed. She's just as fearful. So if you kind of know that and have that mindset go into things, it really helps.
Yeah, and just constantly needing to remind yourself, right? Because you can lose sight of that very easily.
Yeah, it's like, why do you not get this by now? You're almost 3. I've told you this many, many times.
And you're almost 3.
I know, like, why do you not get this already?
Like, that's so ridiculous when you say it out loud. Hey,
right?
Almost 3. It's like, it's not like you're almost 30, okay?
Yeah,
It's like you're 3.
You're almost 3. Why do you not get this already?
Yeah, it's really sad. I do feel like we can be really hard on her for some things, but
yes.
Yeah, it's just keeping yourself in check for sure. So I think that's where we're at, and we'll see. I mean, it's better than last week, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yes.
Yeah.
Every week there's something. So.
Yeah, for sure. Every week there's something new. Yeah. That is one thing. Your baby and children are always changing.
Always changing.
So.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
All right. Continue to learn. Continue to grow. And thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah.